Well, I figure the banter is always fun. The banter
Hey,
is always the funnest part of the podcast.
actually, mind your words. We should be live on air
Well, that's what
now.
it says right up there
We
on
are.
the screen.
Yeah, I got the live. I'm at 11,
Yeah.
12 seconds,
Whoa,
13.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, BS. No BS. Be smart on air. It still makes me wonder a little bit if I made a good choice for the show name in the beginning of time.
Does that translate the same in your neck of the woods?
If it translates the same?
Be smart on air.
No, the BS.
The BS.
Well, it's
we've already gone down.
Listen, it's widely known, so
Okay.
I can just say that I should have known better, actually.
Well,
but
no,
yeah, okay.
be smart.
Please, can I just try a little bit
Okay,
of an
try
introduction?
this.
I know it's hard for you folks to keep.
You can
quiet
mute me.
for 5 seconds. I can hear you. Everyone can hear you, actually.
No,
So, this is the gathering of the great minds, as usual. At least 2 of them. I'm just a poor soul from the North Pole and trying to get some wisdom from across the pond here soon. And as it happens, I'm in Luleå, very northern Sweden, and I have the great pleasure to connect with 2 friends within education, ed tech, if you like, from across the pond. And these 2 guys are kind of far away from me, obviously, but not that far from each other, as it happens. Just a coincidence in a way. And I thought we might, among other things, go back in time a bit. Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Where are you going with this?
Just a little bit. Since both of these 2 guys have been podcasting quite a bit, and actually I think at least Bjorn still is, or like getting back in the saddle. I'd like to get into podcasting a little bit more, since I'm trying to do that as well in different ways and through different avenues. I haven't quite made up my mind which one is the best, or the cheapest. I know which one is the cheapest, the one that's free. But anyways, that's one thing, the podcasting thing. And then the worldwide situation being what it is. So a little bit about that as well. And hopefully we don't dig awfully deep into this rabbit hole, which consists of misery for the most part. So, and if we get there, let's hope we can get back up again. A little bit of an introduction from over there. I'm not sure about you guys, Bjorn and Zach, how you see the thumbnails, but next to me, underneath this big
Actually, right now, we're just seeing you.
What? You're just...
You and your non-moving waves.
Yes.
Oh, dang! Sorry about that, Bjorn.
No, I like the other one better. But
I just kicked you out, Bjorn, for a while. It wasn't intentional.
Just kick me out.
I promise it wasn't intentional. You seem to be back, though.
I am back, but now I'm like trying to shift my head so I'm exactly in the center.
It's like
here.
moving the opposite
There's
way.
not much room here.
Well,
then I'm noticing my name doesn't fit in there along with Ed Gamer, so that's really bugging.
I was trying to make up my mind who's going to introduce himself first, and I figured the one who's talking the most, but I've already did my talking, like your introduction, and you 2 are talking simultaneously all the time, so not me.
Let's
so it is. Let's see if I kick you out or if I manage to bring you full screen. Zach!
Oh boy.
Zach is full screen.
Was I hearing a foghorn?
Yeah, unfortunately. Okay. Just before you get started, a word of warning.
That is a foghorn, right?
A word of warning from here, since there's extensive rebuilding and whatnot going on in this area. And if I just shut down my microphone, like somehow like in mid-sentence, that's because it's getting kind of loud outdoors. Hope that is not messing things up
It
right
sounded
now.
like a foghorn, so it fits with what you're. Except it's not foggy where you're at. So that doesn't really work.
No.
Just static waves and
Oh,
clear
man.
skies, as you can
Okay.
see.
He still have
Um,
to change his background
Zach,
to something that has
who
like a
are you?
lighthouse.
Okay, so
And why
I am.
the heck are you here?
I don't know. That's a great question. No, so I'm Zach Gilbert. I teach in Normal, Illinois, which consistently gets laughter from Nilo and his compadres. So I teach at the Thomas Metcalf Laboratory School, which is run by the College of Education at Illinois State University. Illinois State University. This is the history teacher me because I can just go on and on. So the College of Ed we are the 5th largest producer of new teachers in the United States. And so I get the privilege of teaching 5th and 6th grade social studies to 4 classes, and then I also teach future teachers. And then I get to play with fun toys and basically have I'm
Beyond
trusted as a professional to kind of take my curriculum and where I see it should go. So I feel very privileged about that. So I'm in a great position on a great university. And so I did a podcast called Ed Gamer for 5 or so years, 152 episodes. And I think the last one I did was about 2 or 3 years ago. I do miss it, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to put together.
Let's not forget to dig a little bit more about that. I have a pencil here. I should get a piece of paper.
Oh, that's
as
old
well.
school.
I have a piece of paper.
Is it
That's
number
great.
2?
Yeah. All right. By the way, Zach, it sounds like a darn fun job.
Yeah.
How did you get that job? I mean, you of all people.
Very, very lucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pure luck.
Honestly, it's if I would have applied for this position at this school probably 10 years before, I don't know if I would have gotten it. I don't know if I would have gotten it when I just even with 10 years of experience. So, it's a position that because of my experience, because of my background, because of my area of expertise, which is games and learning, and now it's expanded into esports, it's kind of opened up. So, but it's still, as I was seeing some and talking to some parents here recently, it still boils down to connecting with students. It still boils down to showing care and love for my students, and that they know I care about them, and getting them to laugh and enjoy learning. So even in this crazy time that we're in, to me, that's the most important thing right now. Academics is important, but it's all about making those connections with the kids. And I do that normally through games and poop jokes. So, because that's what, teaching middle school is all about.
Right.
So it was a nice climb there. And then I just bring it down with the poop jokes.
Exactly.
Just to let you know, I taught an advisory lesson on Friday, and it's called the what is it? The Dog Poop Initiative. It's an
advisory lesson.
Advisory. It's kind of like a social emotional. Just I work with a small group of students every week, and we just connect. And so sometimes we have lessons. And this week's lesson was reading this picture book called the Dog Poop Initiative, and basically people boil down to, you have some poopers, you have people that cause problems, you have people that are pointers, they point out the problems but don't do anything about it, and then you have the scoopers, which are the ones that are usually the people that take care of things and get things done. So that's we could have an hour just talking about that.
Yeah, it sounds like a great book.
It's a great book.
I should read that one.
Yeah,
for sure.
And when you talk poop and things like that to middle schoolers, you've got their attention.
You can always talk poop with most people, right?
There you go. Okay.
Wait a minute. I don't say we don't always talk poop
more.
Middle schoolers.
No more of all that stuff. Let's move on a bit here. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
The bear.
Yeah, I'm Bjorn Behrens. Despite the name, I am very much U.S. Vermont person. I think we were talking about beforehand, where I think my mother was a big tennis fan. So
I must say, I find that, I don't know if I say funny, is it insulting or not?
No, because honestly, I've mentioned it several times. I always said my name with this really normal American accent, Bjorn. And then I'm sitting here, I've become friends with you through podcasting, And I jump on this one time, and you say my name, both, including my last name. I always say Behrendt, and it's probably got this Bachrent. It's German, so it's got some weird stuff in the back.
A little bit.
It's supposed to
If you
sound
want to
like.
get, if you want to get the German pronunciation right, there's a little bit of that. Yeah, I guess.
So I don't think I ever heard it actually said correctly until I started podcasting with you, Nilo. So I'm technology innovation and data management specialist for a school here in Vermont.
Wow,
So-
that's kind of a mouthful.
It is.
Can you say it slowly?
Okay, technology innovation. That's one half, and then there's the and symbol. That's
Uh-huh.
always fun.
Yeah.
Data management specialist.
Man,
Oh yeah.
wow. I mean, it sounds impressive. Must be impressive.
Well, I got to admit, I got really, really busy once this pandemic hit.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I can imagine. You started
So-
working for real. That's what you mean, huh?
Well, normally you try. It's a brand new position. You try and build relationships with teachers, and usually you try and go for like a 3-year thing to kind of get your name kind of known out there. Well, it went, it was going on that track, and I was getting a few people that I was just kind of connecting with on a regular basis and trickling in. And then COVID hit, and now every single teacher knows exactly who I am because every single training that happened on how to teach in this environment has my face and voice attached to it. So,
For how long have you been in your present position then?
it was a brand new position last year, and so 1 year plus a few months.
Okay.
I had some time over the summer that I had to build some trainings for just because, but it's the first time I was ever on a teacher contract. So I also had time off during the summer. That was fun.
So did you
Alright.
work during summer?
I didn't officially work during the summer. I just had a couple projects I had to get done. So I had some.
So that's like a teacher.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're not on contract, but we're still working. I do, Nilo, I have 2 questions. Is it all right? I asked Bjorn 2 questions.
Absolutely. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so-
You can have
so-
you can even go with 3 if you
Well,
insist.
two is what I have right now. So, okay. So the first thing, it sounds like they took 2 positions, put them together, and they're paying you for one. Right. That's what I've been in education for 25 years. It doesn't, we wear many hats, don't we?
Oh, definitely.
So, okay. And then the second question is you have 2 light switches right next to each other and they're off center. I have to ask, what is that all about? This
That
way.
is-
Oh yeah, right.
Okay.
And is that a third light switch to the left of it?
No, that's just a power switch, which is also on a different.
Oh, geez, it's like rising up. Okay, I'm just curious. Is there one?
I have a question. The fan, that's not functional, or is it?
No, that's fan. It'll work if I hit. I think.
The switch.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Whoa.
Hold on.
Very good.
Turned
Okay,
it
demonstration.
To turn it on.
Well, it's one of the ones that has one on the bottom and one on the top.
Okay. Okay.
So there's a fan
sorry.
in the ceiling. and
No,
it's
this
functional.
whole
I'm-
house
I'm-
is that way. This house, I actually grew up right next. My wife grew up next door. She watched it go up, and we're still friends with the family who built it. But it was his first house. He had built it while he already had kids. Someone just gave him the property, and he was like 20 years old. And they moved in, and pretty much all the light switches and everything, and all of the things, they already had the furniture in, and he decided we need a light switch here. And he put it there and he'd hammer it in. They needed a light switch here, and he put it there and hammered it in. My wife grew up playing, there was no sheetrock on the walls. She doesn't ever remember. She was friends with these people through high school. We finally bought the house. It had sheetrock up, but the kids that were babies when he bought the house were old enough to do the mudding and sanding themselves by the time it went up. So it's a very
unique.
piecemeal house that has been great because I can make any improvements I can, and it's improved.
There you go. Okay, sorry. I just
Whoa.
it just
Oh, yeah.
went off. That totally got my attention with the 2 light switches there.
I fully
Okay.
understand. It was extremely interesting. By the way, is there awful racket coming from my side?
Only
No.
only from the person talking into the microphone, but other
Yeah,
than
yeah,
that,
yeah. I mean,
No,
you can't avoid
Yeah.
that, unfortunately. They
no,
are.
it's all good.
Uh,
Wait, I
I
had a second
hear
technical issue.
very, very obvious. They are tearing down a wall somewhere or whatnot in the area.
Well, hopefully,
And
it won't fall down behind
luckily,
you
my
there.
mic.
Well, is
What?
that any better? I have 2 kids taking school right next to me.
Okay, we are good. We are good.
I got one in the other room, one next to me. I'm at home with 2 kids. Here, we're about
So
to get. Here, say hi,
I don't
Cam.
worry.
Yeah.
Hey, good. Hey,
Dad.
guys.
Hello.
Perfect.
So
Yeah,
I'm doing
that's-
the teaching from home.
Yeah,
Okay, now get away.
sounds great.
I'll help you later.
Okay, I don't worry much about the whatever noise coming from my
That's all
side
good.
then.
Yeah, don't worry about that noise. As
Except
for
that-
the portion of it,
Hmm.
yeah, when I first applied for this job, Vermont has gone into like craziness with their state reporting. I don't know how Illinois is, but it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a full-time job in of itself, and that's what I thought I was doing. Turns out, no, I'm actually just managing the report end of the state assessments.
Oh boy.
So, and we just started with something called iReady, which is amazing. I love the product. It's a great state assessment with.
Hey,
some
wait a
criteria
minute.
in there.
You are managing what? Can you go into the detail a little bit about that?
iReady. Well, if you've heard of NWEA testing,
Yep.
I don't know if you guys have that over on the other side of the pond, but
yep.
Nope.
It's basically the test that the students have to take. Was it 2 or 3 times a year? We chose to not use NWEA anymore, and we went with a program called iReady, which does the same thing. It gives a test, but iReady also gives personalized instruction based on the test, which is not to be confused with the primary instruction that the teacher is giving, but more of a supplemental, fill in the gaps type of thing. So, the data management is really building the reports for the principals and making sure people know how to use that product, as well as SBAC and
Who owns
state reporting.
Who owns iReady?
I think iReady is iReady.
Okay. Yeah, there's some pushback with NWEA, and there's been other iterations.
Curriculum Associates. Is that what it is?
Okay.
Are these tests like some kind of general tests, or I mean,
They're
focusing on some kind of special subject matter, or
these are usually reading and math assessments that are either done. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's nationally. Ouch.
So they're just a standardized test.
Just a standardized test.
all right.
Okay. But like I said, the iReady has the curriculum associated with it, which is really neat. And the reporting end of it is actually easy to follow, unlike NWA.
And you guys have lots of standardized tests, right?
Oh, way too many.
Uh-huh.
I think their kids are testing every month. They probably have something.
Okay.
We haven't been testing that much because of COVID. Yeah, so since the spring, we dropped our state testing, and we don't even know. We did a little bit not state testing, but we did some standardized testing at the beginning of the school year. But yeah, it's really hard to read those numbers right now because our students are in such a just a unknown variable, right? Going through a pandemic,
some are home,
it's just like
some are not.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and trying to manage that is very difficult. So it's been tough. There's been pushback here in the state of Illinois of saying, okay, until we get all this settled, we really need to stop and maybe do it at a local level, district level, but not necessarily a state level. And the only problem with that is that it's usually money's associated. There's funding, whether it's from state or federal, is associated with those standardized tests. So the federal government stopped it in the spring, but we don't know about what that's going to look like this year. And the election could play a big role. And
it could.
And what happens there. So that's a whole another variable. So we're just kind of up in the
Hey,
air.
Milo, I like this view.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. I like this one
I like this one.
because I'm not like scrunched, and it's just
Yeah,
like
I
I'm
just feel
moving
like
my
I'm like-
head back, and you can see all
I'm
the cool
still trying
things
to
in
find my way
background.
here. Lots
See
of
my light switches.
lots of buttons to hit and switches to flip. But I'm kind of
You're
worried
playing.
that I might do something
Yep.
stupid here.
No, this is good.
No, this is
good.
good. By the way, Zach, we were talking last time when Bjorn was telling us a little bit about the way the life works and everything works today from his point of view. What about you? I guess it's pretty similar, possibly, but not necessarily for you guys. But how are things like
That's
work-wise
first
and
aid.
education-wise for you? Zach?
I missed that last. Did you say education-wise or medication-wise?
Let's stick to the education
Okay,
part.
education, because I thought I heard you say education, but I just
Right,
wanted to make sure.
I did actually.
Yeah, so we are. The good news is that out of all the states in the Midwest right now, our COVID numbers have not been spiking like some others. So that's been a positive. Our governor, whether liked or disliked, is really, has really pushed the idea of what the Illinois Department of Health has promoted, which, masks and testing and social distancing and things like that. So we have the county that I'm in, we have Bloomington Normal, which is about 150,000 people in the metropolitan area. And then we have a lot of rural areas, and many of those rural schools have gone back in person. Some have been effective. Some have had some troubles. There's been some of the private schools in the area that have opened up, and some have been effective and some have not. The two main school districts, the one in Bloomington and the one in Normal, are much larger than any of the other school districts. So trying to manage that has been difficult, but it looks like the school district in Normal is going back starting the 19th, which is a week from today.
Yep.
But I don't think it's all grade levels. I think it's kind of early, and then maybe 6th grade and then 9th grade, and they're kind of gradually doing that. My wife teaches in the district in Bloomington, and they start with the early grade levels on the 26th. And so, which is the same time that my school district, which is basically a K-12, it's the laboratory schools, at Illinois State, we are going back on the 26th, and we've been working on a schedule to do a hybrid, which is 2 days a week and 1 day remote. Ours is very unique, I think, because most of them are doing like a Monday, Wednesday, and then Friday remote, or Tuesday, Thursday, Friday remote, or Monday, Thursday, Tuesday, Friday, and then the Wednesday's the remote. We are actually, now that I've confused everybody that's out there because I need pictures to see all this, we are going Monday, Tuesday with one block, Wednesday, Thursday with the second block, and then Friday remote. And there's some reasons for that. Scheduling wise, it has been one of the big reasons. We've also talked to parents about daycare, right? Or being able to watch the kids at home. And so if you have it 2 days in a row, that's if you only need somebody to watch the kids on Monday, Tuesday, it's a lot easier to schedule. So those are all things that went into the consideration. How that's going to look and how it's going to run, it's still up in the air for me. How I'm going to block, I'm going to see half the kids on Monday, Tuesday, and the other half on Wednesday, Thursday, and then remote. Flipping it, I can't visualize. I can't visualize that. I have the Monday, Tuesday group, and then I give that group some asynchronous work on their off day, and then I see them on Friday. Well, that's not going to be the same schedule for the Wednesday, Thursday group, because they're not going to have time to do that asynchronous work before we meet on Friday. So it's very confusing. And I think a lot of times the analogy is, building the plane while it's flying.
Yeah.
Is a lot of what we as teachers have been doing for years. And I think that's what's going to happen. My other concern is, I'm just keep on rambling here, Nilo, is that right now I'm teaching about remotely, I'm teaching about 4 hours and 15 minutes a week for the kids, right? So I'm online with them for 4 hours and 15 minutes.
Synchronously?
Synchronously.
Eesh.
So, but that's
from
for
your
the
home. You're
that's the
online from your home.
no, I actually go to school. It's much easier
Oh.
because as Bjorn knows, being at home and trying to work is a difficult thing. And so having kids and my wife who also teaches as well, it's tough to do. So getting at school, and then I can socially distance and meet with my other teammates on my team, so my middle school team. So those are some things there. But I guess we mix it up. I mean, it seems like a lot, but we put in breaks. We're doing some activities that it's not like I'm sitting in front of the camera the whole entire time and talking. That's not what I'm doing. But when we go to this hybrid, I'm only going to be meeting with the kids for 2 hours and 15 minutes a week. Now, part of that will be, let's see, an hour and a half of that will be in person, right? So that's the positive. And then we have 45 minutes in remote. I guess the concern is that I feel, and this is what we've all been, I don't know what your remote is like, Bjorn, but
I'll go into it in a little bit.
yeah. So is it one of those things where the teachers are teaching the remote kids and the in-person kids at the same time? Because that has been the blowback from us, is that I feel like I'm 50% effective when I'm teaching remote, and now you're going to put students in my classroom, and that's going to reduce that even more. I'm tech savvy, right?
Yeah.
But I'm dealing with a lot of, and because I know technology, I'm working through these tech issues with the kids, whether it's turning off their cameras or having them restart their computers or removing extensions, whatever it might be, to try to help them out with their Chromebooks. But I can't do both right now. I don't see myself doing both at the same time.
Yeah, it sounds really, really crazy.
It is. So
impossible to pull off, I'd say, properly.
Yeah. So my hope is that the thing is that you got to balance this, right? Is being in person. If we're in person, then we need to recognize that the academic side is going to be a little bit lower. The expectation should not be as high as what it would be in the past. So if we're fully remote, the expectations are lowered. Now, if we're having less time with the kids, it should be even lower than that. So my hope is that everybody recognizes that and sees it for what it is, and says, okay, it's more important that we're in person and we're trying to get these kids back into a good situation and we're being safe. Then the academics are lowered a little bit. And so that's where I'm at right now. And that's what we're trying to figure out. And so I'm going to stop talking now because I feel like
we can interrupt. Yeah. So
obviously, I think, okay. I mean, seriously, you got to lower the bar quite a bit if you end up in that situation. And of course, like, we were talking about this quite a bit last time in here on my home turf, as to teaching the students up to say 15, 16 years of age. It's been business as usual, but the colleagues who are teaching the older kids, like those 16, 17, 18-year-olds, that's been a different story, and it's been really, really tough for some of those folks, for sure, for the reasons you mentioned, Zach, for the most part, I believe.
And we haven't even talked about the social emotional aspects.
Oh God.
Because it's, this generation of kids are dealing with far more anxiety and depression than any other. I wish I knew the reason, but I think some of it has to do with these little devices right here, right? So that, I think that's part of it, but
that's a fact.
So you have that, and now you're putting them into a pandemic, and now you're putting academic expectations on them as well. And a lot of these kids, it's just dug them into a deeper hole.
And I can't imagine. I mean, I have my two kids at home, so I actually have two models I can talk about here. We have the model that my kids are in, which was almost a full remote model. They opened up fully remote. My youngest, the one that you saw running around here, she's going back on the 19th, 5 days a week. And my oldest, who's in 8th grade, is going back 2 days a week starting November 2nd. and that is going to be a hybrid for the rest of the year. The school where I work,
So they've already decided that?
pretty much our superintendent's kind of like, I'd rather say plan for it the whole year and tell you otherwise than
Okay.
so that way you kind of, you know,
Plan for
until
the
we start
worst.
getting until we start getting vaccinated and know things work and things are under control.
Yeah.
We don't expect it to happen this year.
Yeah. And knowing that you could go to full remote as well. I mean,
Yeah.
you got the two ends of the spectrum.
And I don't particularly like it. It was very synchronous. So every hour she had a meeting that she was on. My youngest, same thing. She was on a meeting. At least in 8th grade, it sounded like some of the teachers kind of got that whole don't talk for 45-minute deal and talked for like the 15 minutes and then let them work while the camera was on, which I don't think was too bad. At least kept things a little bit organized. Where I work, we took a completely different approach and we were asynchronous. Everything has to be asynchronous. But we were on a hybrid model. So half the students were in Monday and Tuesday. They were off Wednesday. The other half of the students were in Thursday and Friday. But there was 5 days of new learning. So it wasn't like teach this half of students, then teach this half of students. It was you are facilitating your teaching all 5 days of the week. And that's how we kind of pushed it. We took a really flip model approach to it. And we kind of said, you're going to have time. You're going to have to let them have time to watch your videos that you created while they're in class and let the students who are out of class also watch the videos. And then you have to facilitate your own teaching. So you're basically going to walk around and as they're doing whatever worksheet or whatever project you're having them do, based on the information you gave in the flip learning, you're going to have to do that in class. And then the students at home have to do the same thing, just with their parent as the facilitator, per se, or themselves.
I'm trying to visualize.
So
you have the kids have the same lessons for the 5 days a week, whether they're in person or not, and they've basically been doing videos, or let's say I use Nearpod, which I can put some videos and just have them walk through some of the lessons. And then once they're through that, then I can be there to answer questions.
Yeah. So teachers are their facilitators of their own learning. I mean, it's basically the flip learning approach. And that's what we're kind of pushing. But we just went whole hog into it, and guess what? Now you're doing it this way.
Are the teachers answering questions to the remote kids while they have in-person kids? It doesn't sound like they're doing that. Or are
they will do. They have certain times that they'll do different meetings. So they'll actually have some meetings with some students, small group meetings with some remote students while they're have students in person. Nothing synchronous. Let me say that. The only thing that's synchronous between the two groups is like a morning meeting. And then they all kind of get on. We're still trying to work out some technical difficulties between having an entire school, every single student all streaming at the same time and just killing the network.
Man, that's just so complicated. Just whoa. I just have a hard time imagining how you guys make it work.
Actually, that actually has me kind of excited. And as crazy as that sounds, and Nilo's just like, what are you, with me trying to figure out the 2 days on, 2 days off, and having a model like that, but basically saying that this is everybody's learning the same thing on the same day, but you don't necessarily, and then trying to figure out how you're meeting with the remote kids and the in-person kids. Yeah, I honestly, Bjorn, I would love for you to send a link. I'm guessing Nilo will post something. So maybe if you have a link to that plan,
I'll do my best.
Link to that plan, because it does have me thinking that I could split up my time with my students, right? It's got me thinking.
It's basically, yeah. I mean, we fought hard. The curriculum director and I fought hard to say, we're not doing synchronous. We look at the training. We're not trying to do synchronous. The only time that you are synchronous, it's not academic. It's social emotional time.
Could it be reteaching? Because you're doing that. I mean, it's not the original lesson, but if somebody doesn't understand, then you might have a small group, whether it's in person or remote, to where you might go back through those.
We can do small group. We can do stuff like that. But we're trying to say, if you have all your students with you, half remote, half in person, that's social emotional time. That's morning meeting. That's talking about
That's
things that
interesting.
are going on. But the academics need to happen asynchronously. And we also fought that Wednesdays, we tried to get it. So say administrators do not schedule meetings or anything. Wednesdays are the days that teachers need to create or curate their content. Really trying to highlight the fact that, yes, this can work, but only if teachers can have the time to build the content.
That's interesting.
For the week.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
well, hey, this conversation right here, Nilo, is worth it for me.
It's super interesting for me. And it makes me wonder a little bit if I could have pulled it off in similar circumstances. I kind of hope I would have, but I'm not sure.
Well,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's you see it from a distance, and you're just like, yeah, I'm so glad I didn't have to do that. But so
in a way, but also I feel the other side of the whole thing as well. And we were talking about that last time a little bit more. Kind of the possible upside of this mess. And there is definitely an upside. How big that one is, that's another story. But there is an upside, I hope, that will remain after we get into some kind of new normal, whatever. And that's the way more and more folks have got used to distance teaching, and perhaps a little bit even learning. I think.
Yeah,
I definitely
I'm
think.
excited about it. I know our instructional coaches and the teachers, they're struggling to figure out how to provide feedback in that. They're like, well, I let them watch the video. Now what do I do?
Yeah.
And, when I was talking with the instructional coaches, my comment was research the flipped learning. It's been around for almost over a decade.
Flip learning obviously is nothing new. It's age old, basically.
It's almost a decade old. It has a lot of information about providing feedback to the students, as they're working. I mean, that's the whole point of it. We did have to modify it a little bit for the remote learning. And when I posted it out there, I'm like, take your lesson that you would normally give and break it down to really small groups so you can give the feedback, not the whole worksheet, but that one concept,
right.
Provide the feedback and then keep going back and forth.
Well, that's where Nearpod for me is, I was using it before all this.
You were using what? Say again?
It's called Nearpod. NEARPOD. Pear Deck is another version. It's very similar.
Yeah.
It's a way to gather formative responses from students.
Okay,
so even
I'm with you.
Even in a school like mine, where it's we have some high level students, but we have some high level students, but not very many low. It's more of the middle ground, right? Mm-hmm. So even in a situation like that, you always have kids that are willing to give answers and raise their hand, but many students will not. They kind of get into this groove of, that's the group that asks questions and things. So my job is to try to gather that formative information from the students that might not speak up and give them the confidence so they can. So basically, I'd ask a question and I'd put it into Nearpod, and then I could see all their answers, and then I could read through and get basically instant feedback on what they know, and try to get that information to where some kids, there was a student, well, there were several students last year that I would point out and say, hey, can I go ahead and read? Do you want to read it? And a lot of times they're like, no. I said, is it okay for that I read it, because I think this is something that the entire class needs to hear. This is such an amazing, insightful answer, and I think that needs to be shared. So you're trying to build that up. So Nearpod is a way to do that. And then they also just added a beta version of what's Edpuzzle, which is basically a video tool to where you can stop the video at certain points and then ask questions. So it might play for 5 minutes, and then it asks a specific question to make sure that you've paid attention to what's happened in the first 5 minutes. Well, Nearpod's added that functionality into their platform. So this is definitely a tool that I'm wanting to use more to gather that information. I think I could use it in this flipped manner to get that information. So when they come to class, or I'm meeting with them remotely, it's that time of, okay, this is the answer you gave me. Let me ask you a couple other questions to try to, maybe get some other types of responses and see where you're at. It's the same thing. It's all about students learning new information, questioning, and answering, and trying to gather. And my job is just to gather up that information to see if they understand it. Their job is to prove to me that they understand it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we did a lot. We pushed Seesaw, and we pushed Google Classroom for the little bit upper grades a lot. I've been trying to get a little bit more teachers using Flipgrid, which I think is a great tool.
It's another great tool.
Like I said, I think we had one teacher who tried Pear Deck, and I saw it, and it was great morning meeting activity, but it was because of the liveness, the synchronous that Pear Deck is designed to work with. We're trying to keep away from some of those.
So Nearpod does there's a free version. It does have some limits. I've got the paid version because I like having some of those extra features, which right off the top of my head I couldn't tell you. But it's the nice thing about Nearpod is that it can be student paced. So you can have it live. You can also have it student paced, to where in fact, they even have a thing. It's just like your substitute plans, right? You just send out the link into Google Classroom for Nearpod, and the kids just walk through those. And what they've started adding, which is the reason why I like the paid version, they've started adding a lot of pre-made content, and then you can even edit those, right? And start adding information in there that that would be more pertinent for your class. iCivics is one of the tools that I use in the classroom, which is about our Constitution and our government. And so they've added some Nearpod lessons into iCivics has added some Nearpod lessons in there. So it's Pear Deck. I don't know if they have a student paced, but I know Nearpod does.
Yeah,
that's something.
Because I think I'll have to look into that a little bit more, because
for once, I think I must put together some show notes. So that means
you're writing these down with your number 2, aren't you?
You guys need to mail me afterwards or something. Seriously, lots of good stuff just whistling by here, and I need to get it, written down for sure.
We're living it every day, right?
Yeah.
So it's
by the way.
In
all of this, could there be a good spot for podcasts as well? Like education-centered podcasts, obviously.
Student-created podcasts.
Student-created podcasts, yep.
Zencastr.
I'm just kind of, again, trying to get started with this stuff with my students.
Oh, you haven't played with Zencastr?
Well,
I'm
okay.
surprised what Nilo hasn't. But.
It's been... Like I said, it's been 2 to 3 years since I've done any podcasting. So,
but you were doing lots of that stuff, and so was Bjorn.
Yeah, but we were all doing it the hard way.
Well,
we had the mixers and the minuses.
Oh, I didn't mess
got the mixer, and it's really way too much for me. Too many buttons on that thing.
The mixer was fine, but I did a lot of cold. It's like, here's the show. I'm not editing it. It's and then I pushed it out there. I didn't have time.
Heck, who has? if
took
you
5
work
to
in
6 hours.
education. I
Yeah.
don't, for
It
sure.
took 5 to 6 hours to put a podcast together for
Yeah.
the prep, and then
Yeah.
the actual. So,
No, the editing part, that's just, no go.
but
Can't
but
do
now
it.
is it like Zencaster? Is that? I mean, I'm guessing some of the tools have gotten better to where it's super simple. It's all put together. You can add your front end, your back end, music,
Sure.
whatever it is, and
Sure.
then just it drops onto your website. It goes out all to the different platforms. So Zencaster, is that one of them?
Zencaster is a really cool one. It's basically the podcast version of, everybody podcast version of like Mix Minus, where you can send a link out to everybody, and then you get your own individual track as an audio person from all your hosts. So
okay, I see. So you get like perfect audio in
you
case
get perfect
people have
audio
good gear
from
at home.
multiple
Yeah.
hosts, and you don't have to worry about trying to do the Mix Minus on your end. You don't have to worry about trying to get them to send you a clean audio. But if you're looking for that clean audio thing, that was
But I mean, man, I'm just looking for I'm looking for dirty audio. That's that's good enough to listen to, basically. And
the other thing
what I'm doing, and the same thing you guys I think have been doing, and Zach, I think that was the way you did as well. I mean, just YouTube and then download the audio and turn that into an MP3, right? That's what I do.
And put it into Audacity.
Yeah. Just download the audio and put it into Audacity and turn that into an MP3. I mean,
Zoom,
it's really, really easy, and that's the main thing for me.
Zoom has been my tool, because that's what I've been using in the classroom, right? So
okay, so that's what you use with the students as well.
Videos. If I post something, Zoom has that capability. Now it does. What's interesting, I know it breaks down the audio and then also the video, but I don't know if I pulled that into. I think there is a way, maybe on higher levels, if it's a certain type of account, that you can break down the audio into different channels as well. I'm not 100% sure of that.
Probably not.
I'm guessing on the higher end, I bet they have something, because they can even do closed caption.
Yeah.
Whether you enter it in or it tries to do some AI and do that, which was always fun to read over when you're looking at that. So, but those
it's gotten better though.
Oh, it has. Oh, it's totally gotten better. But when I work with students that are vision impaired, blind, or those that are hearing impaired or deaf, those are very, very important. So we have some tools actually within our school that help out with that. So those are things that even the described media, right? So they're watching a video and to have it described, so that when I'm thinking about podcasting and things like that, my mind has actually gone to even those outlets, right? Because the more I've worked with those students, the more I've realized that it's not even anywhere close to what it should be. You'd be amazed on how many videos and movies and other things that do not have the ability to, whether it's described or closed captioning or whatever it is. It's really frustrating to no end. So, but this is definitely interesting, and Flipgrid is one of those easy ways, Bjorn. So I can go on about it, but I've been talking a lot. So Bjorn, how do your kids use the Flipgrid?
You want to go to Flipgrid, or you want to go still talk about podcasting?
Well, I think, but can't you say Flipgrid is can you take your Flipgrids and turn that into?
I don't know, because Flipgrid, the way it works is more like a video response,
right?
And one of the ways that I think, so you send out a video saying, "Hey, answer this question," or a text answering this question,
right?
And the students respond with a video. One of the features that I just found out that it has a whiteboard in it.
Yes.
So you can do the whole Khan Academy type of stuff with Flipgrid now, with seeing the students' reaction. So you see the students' reaction, and right next to them, they have a little whiteboard that they're drawing and writing on. So that's kind of a cool little tool.
Couldn't the kids just describe, like, "Hey, I want you to teach other students how to solve this type of problem," and then the kids create that? And then I think there's but I don't know if there's a way to take that video, or is it just it's totally housed within Flipgrid
Yeah, I don't
to take it somewhere.
know.
But
It's hard because I look at podcasting with students and I look at it in two different ways. One, you either have the individual podcast, which is kind of like a subject that they basically a recording of them. And then I usually like online voice recorder. I'll just have them do a straight up recording that way, which works well on the Chromebooks. I like it because it actually shows the waveforms as they're talking. That's pretty much the end.
so
And then,
go ahead.
yeah, go.
I'm going to jump
Come
into
on,
another
just
a couple
step
other
on each
platforms.
other for
No,
heaven's
you
No,
sake.
keep
because I
going.
got to get to another one. No, you
Huh?
cannot interrupt.
No, okay, go.
Go.
Okay, so I'm going to Twitch and Discord. So because I've been getting into esports, and of course Twitch, I've got students, the high school players that are constantly making videos of their gameplay, which
I know,
those you
maybe.
could say are like podcast. I mean, it's a podcast, right?
Yeah.
It's you're
Yeah.
sharing information. So that's a tool. The one that's growing and probably the fastest social media platform out there that most people don't really talk about is Discord. And Discord is basically there were many other iterations and other applications in the past that would have gamers connect to each other via voice chat and things like that. But now you can actually stream your gaming video through Discord. And so you now are I see Discord as a platform, and I don't know how it's going to work out because it being used within schools, because it is a wide open platform.
Yeah, right. I guess there are some
watch out for those.
shady sides of
There is,
of
but
that
there's
as well.
shady sides of Twitter and
Yeah,
and
sure.
Facebook and
Sure. I just recently heard something about Discord that
yeah,
I was wondering, oh, what?
Well-
Like, I don't know.
yeah. So
Now-
it's the same type of thing, but it's still another tool that many kids use
Yeah, that's true.
to connect with others and to create. Just on another side note is that I actually had the Illinois State University esports team, a couple of their employees or part of their staff, they actually created a Discord server for me. Talk about a growing industry. Kids are going to be making money on creating and securing Discord servers, right? And creating those for esports or whatever type of communication tool. I definitely see Discord as a tool down the road that could be utilized more. In the professional side, it's Teams, which is kind of that's kind of the Microsoft version of what Discord would be, which is a great
Right.
platform.
The whole of my school district, I guess is the word, or even more than that. The whole Luleå area up here, not only schools but like everything is using Microsoft software these days.
Mhm.
And that means also using Office 365.
Oh, we
and
ditched it.
Obviously,
We don't even
Teams.
give it to teachers anymore.
Huh?
Google only.
Nothing from Google. That's those days are
Oh.
gone completely.
No, everything Google, nothing from
For-
Microsoft.
for several reasons that are very interesting that I won't get into right now, but that's the way. And I don't mean to say that one or the other is superior somehow. But,
and neither are complete angels. So
Oh, definitely. Hey,
But
back to podcasting.
yes, podcasting.
No, so
See,
one of the other
Jordan
tools,
wanted
I'm gonna bring you guys back. One of the other tools that I have done with students is Anchor FM.
yeah, me too. I just
Anchor.fm.
got started with
this.
that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Since I have mixed feelings about Anchor, generally speaking.
Well, one of the ways that I used it with last year with the students, and it got brought up again this year. I remember coming into a classroom and the students would go off into different spots. Like there's that room in between classes sometimes,
Mhm.
that just the door.
Yeah.
So they went in there and they used that as a recording studio. So there was three of them.
This place, Bjorn, is the room
Yes, it's
between
one of-
two classrooms. This very place.
I know it looks
Wow.
so roomy.
It looks so cool.
So they would go into there, and we had students in the library. We had students, and they were in groups of 3, and they just hit record, and then they would just record to the computer. So nothing fancy, no speakers, no anything else. And it would try and have the same banter that we have here, just that go back and forth. And I would encourage that. There's your green screen.
Yeah, only green screen.
It's
You know,
kind of
the
lime.
truth is that this room is very, very tiny, but there are 2 rooms, so I have kind of an escape route from here when things get really, really rough on one side. You know, so
You're lucky. If I roll back too far, I'm going down the steps.
Oh, so is that a staircase?
Yes, I am literally at the top of a staircase.
Interesting.
Is where the only place
So
I
that
can put
makes
it
sense
off-
with the angle.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of let's see.
No, I'm just, so is there
right.
other? Oh yeah, don't go too far. So Anchor, Zencaster.
Anchor and Zencaster have been and online voice recorder are the ones I've been really using.
So what would be is can they use that with Chromebooks?
Yes.
Anchor, sure.
Okay, and what online? What was the other one?
Online voice recorder. It's
By the way,
kind of-
Anchor was bought by Spotify for, if I remember correctly, USD 150 million.
Oh, $150. I thought you were stopping there.
I like
150, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros.
I like your fishing village better. I like that one better.
Kind of
Yeah.
neat, huh?
Kind of fishy smelling, but I like it.
It didn't smell fish. It smelled good. Waves, the sea. You know. I like the fish. You know, the seafood smell. Absolutely.
Yes.
By the way,
Yeah.
I've been there with my sea kayak. It's way out from the Swedish coast, further south from here. But anyway, with my wife,
A little
of
warmer.
course, as usual.
Yeah.
It's pretty
See,
cool.
I forgot to bring my picture. I had the fall leaves. So I'm from Vermont.
I'd love to see
Fall
the
leaves
fall
last
leaves.
time.
That's
Well,
for
it's
sure.
now all bare trees. We
Hmm.
missed peak times, at least over outside my house.
Bear trees for bears.
Yep. Oh, we
That
had
makes
one
sense,
of them
doesn't
too.
it?
Did we
They kept
sidetrack a
stealing my
bit?
trash.
What?
We had bears at my house too. They kept stealing my trash. I had to go up in the woods. I had a big, long woods, and I had to go up there and pull out the trash bags.
Jeez.
That's
I
not
had,
good.
I had him pop over the ridge one time and look at me. It's like, dude, I'm picking up your mess.
Yeah. I'm sure they appreciated that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So
Where were
yeah,
we? Did we possibly sidetrack just a little bit?
I don't know.
was this whole podcast
Podcasting still? Anchor, yeah. Talking about my own, like the more personal side of podcasting and YouTube streaming, whatever, which is more or less kind of fusing into one for me. That's what they've been from the very beginning, actually. So I just went the free route now, Anchor. And I don't think it's the best route to take, but it's free and really, really easy. You can't do much there except just, upload your stuff and it goes everywhere, and you might lose control of your stuff as well, kind of, which is, well, something I don't necessarily like very much, but it's easy and
It was
free.
easy. The kids could put together little things. So it wasn't like Audacity set the thing.
Nah, it's
but
really,
you
really easy.
They had some sound effects that they could put in there.
Mhm.
And so they did have some, not really layering, but splicing in pretty easily. So the
Yeah.
kids had a lot of fun with that, and they had some chicken sounds and things like that. And it was all contained. So as long as the recording, I think they can only record 30 minutes if they use Anchor to do the recording.
Like on the cell phone, you mean, or what?
Just in general, they were using the
okay.
to do the recording. They
Mhm.
had 30 minutes. I think it allows longer if you upload.
Might be, yeah.
But
Well,
you know,
30
it's
minutes.
kinda cool.
30 minutes is plenty for the students.
And with the students, this was 4th grade, and a lot of the time that I spent was on building the show notes
Mhm.
and building the content and how to actually talk and banter and have fun with it
Yeah.
and not just sound
Mhm.
absolutely
Mm.
like
I'd like to have something, talking about the podcast thingy as such, that really, really is a real, if you can say, a real podcast, so that you have this episodic content, like a theme being, I'd guess, loosely something that happens in our school, and then that would be, like the common denominator for the whole thing, and you'll be rolling on all the time, continuously filling with new stuff.
Yeah.
And new students, when new students come in, so that'd be cool.
I've done it with different students and different applications. It's fun. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is building the content and getting that
Mhm.
culture around the
Yeah.
podcasting. And it's funny because a lot of teachers look at it as just I'm going to record you guys reading and put it all together. And that's our podcast.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Not bad, but it's not, there's more to it if you want to get into it.
There's more to not. It's great to do some reading for sure, but I mean, if you really want to get into this publishing business a bit and be aware of what it means when you publish to the world, basically, then it's a different story, I think.
And there's a difference. I mean, with teachers and students, what they don't realize is that there's the recording and editing, and then there's the publishing.
Yeah, and what the publishing thing really means.
What it means, how much it costs.
How much it costs? Does it cost anything?
Anchor is free, but if you get out of Anchor and you're actually trying to host MP3s that are designed to be streamed for podcasting, then you need a media streamer. You can't just use the shared.
Now you're going really into the weeds here.
Why? That's where I was before, and that's why I got out of it.
What do you have in your schools? Do you have a podcast like club?
No clubs.
Not in any of our schools.
Why not?
Nobody.
Should I say something about that? This club thing is not very common, I think, in the Nordic area. We have the school hours, and that's like to whatever 4 p.m. or something, and then it's done.
Is there a newspaper? Like
newspaper?
A high school? Like a
we used to have, way back in time, we used to have a web-based.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just thinking that'd be, if it seems more common maybe in the States and maybe other countries, but I could see that, and especially, and I'm taking the esports angle, part of the organization of esports, it's not just the athletes, it's not just coaches. I mean, you've got a digital media, a social media, casting, computer setup, you've got the tech crew. You look at any university that has a strong esports program, there's many different jobs associated and skills that are needed in order to run that. And I definitely see podcasting and streaming as part of that. And whether it's an offshoot, a podcasting club, or an organization that's an offshoot of esports, or a newspaper or a website or whatever it might be within a school. I mean, I think those connections, especially for where I'm at, I know that could be growth. I know with like sportscasting, right? That's become, I don't know if your school, Bjorn, has this, but I mean, the video recording of basketball games or football games, or in your area, I'm guessing you have some lacrosse. So it's
not at the moment, but yeah.
I'm with you. But there are businesses that are now solely dedicated to uploading video and having applications to help teach and coach those kids, whether, dropping the video in and drawing the circles and running out plays or whatever. But those are, that's becoming more prevalent in high schools in the United States, to where it's like, there's got to be some type of connection there, or kids that are, doing broadcast for their football team or basketball team or whatever that is. We're starting to see that as a growth area. So I hope that spreads out to podcasting. Hopefully we can make those connections.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
I mean, podcasting has become huge in the last couple of years, actually. I mean, huge.
I left, and then it just explodes.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
You left,
and
it was like
boom.
I got to admit, the one thing I want to leave it with is podcasting is one of those things that you can have it very simple, like students recording, doing some research and just recording a simple MP3
That's my
and
melody
sharing
for sure.
it with like QR codes. I think that is
Mhm.
like one of the simplest, coolest ways
Yeah.
to do it. Or you can get into the whole show aspect of it and you can kind of grow. So, if any teachers are listening to this, Zach and I, Nilo, we can get really geeky about all the cool things you can go with this, or you can back it up and you can just keep it really simple too.
I want to
So-
definitely keep it really simple. I mean, the main focus for me is to get those students creating content and
Definitely.
and somehow to give them a chance to understand what it means when this stuff is published, and perhaps also kind of realize that you need to really do your best in several ways when you create content that possibly will be enjoyed, hopefully, by many people.
I think the hardest thing was trying to get it through the teachers who are helping manage this, is that you want content regularly.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things.
That's the thing. That's the main thing almost about podcasting, right? It's got to be content that will be created, like
weekly,
regularly,
monthly,
whatever. If it's bi-weekly or bi-monthly or whatever, but it's got to come in when it's supposed to come in. In a way, a little bit like that. There's got to be some kind of pro attitude to that, I think. In a way, a little bit of that. I'd like that.
So,
hey, we've been going more than 1 hour, and whoa, I don't know about you folks, but
it's probably dinner time for you.
I want to get home, get some dinner, perhaps even if I'm lucky. I'm not saying it's waiting there for me, but if I'm lucky, there might be something waiting for me. Super cool. It's been super, super fun, and I think I've learned quite a bit once again from you guys.
Awesome.
And talking about learning, that's something I would like to learn more about as well. And talking about podcasting as well, to get something like this rolling on regular basis, like educators, folks who are interested in teaching and learning from several countries getting together and talking about the things that are topmost on their agendas. That would be really nice. And in that context, I always think about EdReach, Zach, and the stuff there. That was pretty darn amazing stuff.
It was.
And so was your stuff, Bjorn.
Yeah, the Ed Listen.
And Ed Listens. And you are at it again, huh?
It comes and goes. It's cool. My curriculum director is really into podcasting too. So we had it going last year, and it faded a little bit with the amount of work that we had to do, especially once COVID hit.
Yeah.
But he just texted me beforehand. He's like, I want to do it again. I think our instructional coaches are going to start to do it.
Good.
The school where my daughters go to school, during COVID, they started running a podcast as a way of informing the community about things, and they were doing different interviews. So,
and I must say, I love this live thing somehow. I couldn't imagine sitting somewhere in my chamber on my own talking to a microphone. For heaven's sake, why would I be doing that?
This single person
really,
podcasting, yay! Yeah,
but I mean, this is like two. You get
shaking his head too.
I had my partner in crime, Jerry, and it makes it it made it so much easier.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And doing this stuff, like putting the live part together with the podcast thingy, I mean, that you get the best from the both worlds somehow, and that's really, really neat.
Yeah,
that's really neat. So we'll do this thing again, huh?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm up for
I must be a little bit better in planning, like advanced planning, more than 2 days, perhaps even 3.
No. I live one day at a time.
One day is good enough.
Trying to figure out what I'm teaching tomorrow.
Yeah. That's right. Great. super
Okay.
cool. I'm kind of waving goodbye to you
Yeah.
folks and to everyone else. So
Thank you.
take
Nice
good
chatting.
care, stay safe, and all that stuff. Definitely. We will see you guys. We'll meet again soon, right?
Be smart on air. No BS.
Yeah, no BS. You might stay a minute for a little bit of an after show, if you feel. See you guys.
Yeah.
End
Bye-bye.
broadcast. Do you really want to end the broadcast?